Hello everybody, it's me, TonicTZW, and I'm back again with a new video, this time in the Tier 6 Mars, and it's part of my Think Tactical series, and I've called this one Defend, 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 and you will see why it got that name as soon as we get into it. But here we go, we're on front line, capture the base. I'm in division with my friend Jazz the Merciful, and he's in the New Orleans. I'm in the Tier 6 Mars, and we've got quite a balanced setup. A few big ships out there. We've got a carrier match, which is sod's law when I have a destroyer in gear. But we're going to, well, play as well as we can. Now, at the start of the game, what we're going to look for is we want to get out there and spot the enemy team. The only difference in a destroyer's roles of spot, capture and kill in capture the base are the last two are changed around a bit, so it becomes spot, kill and capture, because although the base is the objective here, I think 90% of games probably end with one team or the other being completely sent back to port. But me, I like to play out, flexible, running around, doing what I can to do the best job for the team. Now, if you look at the left side of the minimap, you'll see that there's a destroyer, and I think it's two battleships out there. And these are the guys that I am reliant on because they have the weak side of the map against them. So I'm expecting them to make a strong push. But they're very cautious in their approach to that flank, even though it turns out they're pretty much against one ship, I think it is. But we push out in the centre, we get the Belfast and the Z35 spotted. They are in division, and that is a very nasty mix of radar, sonar and smoke. So I pop some shots across at the Z35, knowing full well that I'm going to get spotted, because there are planes up over us as well. So I'm using Jazz's AA as well as my own to try and take some of these guys out. We can see that I'm located. I'm pinging the map for the carrier to say, hey, look, can you scout here because there's a DD and the Belfast out there. We've got a cruiser that is popping his smoke screen there, even though he can't actually see anything. Now, is he relying on me to spot? Because I don't particularly want to push out against an HE spamming radar cruiser and a destroyer with 5k sonar. It could be a rather messy ending, but I do spin around, I push out, we see a smoke screen there, which is the Belfast, so gladly he'd burn that. My torps are running, but I don't think I'm going to get much luck with those ones because that Belfast did hit the bricks. Our battleships are doing what battleships do on the right side of the map. They're just parked behind a rock, hoping that something is going to come around the corner or sail straight down the middle of the map and give them a broadside. And that's just going to put them in a great position for when this Z35 decides to do what I would do as a Z35 as well. Spotted again by torpedo planes. I can't actually ping the map to say that something's going on because I'm basically spammed the map too much. But we can see from my twist and track that the closest target is off what is my stern at the moment between those two islands. And I'm trying to ping the map to give as much information as possible, but it's not happening. So using twist and track, I'm just literally sailing in circles trying to position myself and get things spotted without getting spotted myself. You can see now that the left flank has pushed well up that side of the map, and I'm thinking if I can cover centre, then those guys should be able to move all the way around, and I may actually push with them myself and move into the cap for a fast turnover. We see the Shiratsuyu there, so we know we've got a destroyer and a battleship against one destroyer and two battleships. So we put a salvo of torpedoes through the gap where that smoke is. I can't actually see what that is. Is it another cruiser? I don't know. But there's somebody from Red Team hiding behind there. We can see that the dive bombers are overhead, and that Z-35 has not been sighted, and I have a good feeling that he is going to push down that right flank along with his buddy in the Belfast, who appears to have quite good concealment. And so I tell Jazz, look, I'm going to spin round. We need to go cap defend on this because I think they're going to push. We're almost 5 minutes in the game, and surprisingly, there's only one ship being killed, which is a Red Team battleship. And as most games normally end with, well, after 5 minutes, with most ships being killed by one side or the other, it was quite surprising to see that we were so far into the game, a third of the way through, with only one ship dead. Now we spot that Belfast pushing down, and there is only one reason that Belfast is pushing down, and we see it pop up there on the minimap now. But we spot him a little bit too late because the Z-35 picks up a double strike. He takes out one of the battleships parked on the right flank, and he takes out Jazz as well. But that means that he doesn't have torpedoes available. I know he's got 5k sonar. I'm going to push in. His attention is on the carrier, so he's probably going to be gunning that guy down while he waits for a torpedo reload. But we are going to spoil his fun. Because we go guns, we realise that we are right on the limit of 5Ks. We've got a wide spread of torpedoes going across there. If anything, we want to just drop out of that 5K range. He's waiting for me to smoke up so that he can pop his radar. I'm not going to play his game. His engine's out, his steering's out, he takes two torps. Well, he takes one because that was all it needed, but there were two torpedoes there. And I actually misclick and pop my smoke there, and I had absolutely no reason to do that. So we have successfully defended our carrier. And the guys on the left flank they must be going quarter speed up there, because I would have thought that they would have been well up past that corner now and pushing onto red cap. I'm kind of trying to tell the carrier that, look mate, you need to run because we've gone 4 ships down now, and red team are only 2 down. And I realise that I am going to have to play defend the cap to the absolute best of my abilities. And this is going to be a 9-minute, I think, fight for survival on this cap. We know the Belfast is pushing in, we've got the Trento, we've got the guys now. The carrier has done the right thing and he has moved away from the side of the cap he was on, and he is going to follow everything round to the left flank and just try to keep some distance between red team and himself. I'm going to do what I can to spot for him, and there is Billy Belfast, and I realise that I'm up against it here. We've got a radar cruiser with smoke, we've got another cruiser with smoke, and we've got a battleship. But thankfully, because our team are finally pushing onto the edge of red team's cap, their carrier is going to divert his attention onto our ships that are there, and that is probably going to give me an advantage in what happens next. So we're telling the carrier again to get a bit of a wiggle on. The Belfast must be running sonar, I think, because he's just going to zigzag. He knows there's a destroyer out here. I've already dealt with his mate. So he hasn't got the support that he needs in giving him a direction to the closest ship. And although I am in a pretty agile destroyer, and I've got open water, I am very close to the map border, and that is always a dangerous place to be. But I am going to use the mechanics of the game to my advantage and to, well, give the team the win, because those guys who are up on red team's cap at the moment are going to need every second that I can buy them to do what they need to do and take red team's cap. We can see that the Trento is relatively in range. If you can hear that noise in the background, that's just my post being delivered. So I put torps out at the Trento and the Gneiser now. I'm wary, very, very wary of what my detection range is. I have got quite decent concealment on this, but there are 3 ships that are going to be able to focus me should I get spotted. Now I want the Trento to turn his attention to me and not the torpedoes that are running at him. So we fire our guns. We get 4 cap resets in 2 salvos. We get a fire on the Trento. We get 2 torps on him. But for the life of me, the guy will not die. And it doesn't matter what I do to that Trento, he is not going to die. Now I am spotted. I perhaps hit my repair party a little bit too early there, but I go skinny to all 3 of those ships as best as I can because I want to open range and drop detection. But there we are, and we are against the white line, which isn't a place that I like to be, but it is a place where aircraft carriers and battleships really enjoy being. So we are going to get turned around. We have a cap reset. And we're going to need to keep resetting that cap, but we're going to need to play it smart because we've got 2 cruisers in smoke, so they're getting 1.5 cap points per tick. If that Gneiser now gets me spotted, then I've no doubt that he will do what he can to me. But while we're waiting for torps, we get some more hits on the Trento. He is backing out of it, and like I said, this guy just refuses to die. He's like a cat with 9 lives. Every shell that lands just doesn't seem to do enough damage to finish him off. But I'm twisting and turning. I'm doing what I can with my guns. I'm not turning in a circle. I'm trying to keep them guessing. For whatever reason, the Belfast just isn't shooting at me. So I use my smoke here to drop detection. The Gneiser now decides that he's going to have a crack at me. And I am still very wary that this Belfast may have a radar available to him. You'll see that as red team have 2 ships on cap, we've only got 1 on cap, and their carrier is doing his best to keep them reset. And seeing that, I know that I have to do the absolute utmost that I can to keep our cap reset as well. Now I do have some support from the carrier. The Gneiser now is going to try and back into that cap and try and turn it a little bit faster because he knows that they have a huge advantage both ship wise and points wise on this. They can turn it a lot quicker than I can. But we get some shots on the Belfast, we get a fire on the Belfast, and I don't know where those shots came from. It may have been that ship that's in the middle of the map. But the Gneiser now in his slow move to reverse and give them an advantage on points on the cap. He puts himself in the way of my torpedoes, and he is going to disappear back to port right now. So there we go. So we managed to drop detection. We managed to kill the Gneiser now, which gave us another cap reset. And those guys up there on red cap have got about 75% of the cap turned. So the Trento is out of range to me. We have got the advantage at the moment, but this Belfast is definitely going to have to die. Did I need to shoot? Did I need to torp? I'm not quite sure here. I could have potentially left it, but Trento gets himself out of range again. And so I turn my attentions to the Belfast because he is the closest and easiest target to hit to ensure that we get another reset. And there we go, and we get a fire. And just as the clock ticks down to a minute, we get a final salvo off on the Belfast, and we send him back to port, and the blue team from the left flank take the cap. So 1 dev strike, 3 kills, 74,000 damage, 11 cap defends, which is pretty substantial for one game. We finished top of the board with 2660 base XP, and I think that is a prime example of a solid cap defense against what were pretty substantial and not quite overwhelming odds, but certainly odds that were stacked against me a little bit. So that was Defend, Defend, Defend. I've been Tonic TZW. So if you've liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't been past the channel before in the past, please do hit the subscribe and keep your eyes open for new content that I try to upload on a weekly basis. Take care and goodbye.